It's time for the Honolulu Blueprint. My outline for attacking the offseason for the Detroit Lions. John, I have a series of moves from restructures to cuts, free agents, and the draft. Let's do it.
Okay.
The first step, and this is how the offseason has to start for the Lions, a restructuring of Jared Goff's contract. It is an untenable $69 million cap hit for the upcoming season. The Lions have cap space, but just a little bit. This is how you create the breathing room to make some moves. Mahomes freed up 40. I think you could free up $35 million pretty easy with a nice, tidy restructure of Jared Goff's deal.
All right. I mean, yeah, we all believe that's going to have to happen, and it really needs to happen in the next 7 days because you got to have it freed up before the start of the new league year, when free agency, the legal tampering, all that stuff gets rocking and rolling. You need to know how much you have to spend, and as much as you also have to earmark for the draft.
Second, cutting Graham Glasgow. They did it yesterday. They're one step ahead of me. This saves them $5.5 million. He is not a starting caliber offensive lineman. It's a no-brainer. You waive Graham, and you're going to need to address center.
Yeah, and I don't think Juice Scruggs is your starting center. I think he is.
Depth.
Yeah, he's a depth piece for the interior three.
The next one's spicy. I'm cutting Taylor Decker. Post June 1 cut, frees up $18 million. Here's my thought. He wants to come back. Cool. Team's got to make their own decision. They've said they have to address the position regardless. If I'm taking a tackle in the first or second round, I want to play him, and I need the cap space, so I'm cutting Decker. Tough decisions. You got to make them.
It just depends on what they want to do with all the other pieces that they have to address. They still got to address starting center. They still need to address what's going on in the secondary. What do they believe for Brian Branch? What do they believe for Kirby Joseph? What are they going to do at linebacker? What are they going to do opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? What are they going to do for the depth of the tight end position? There's a lot going on, and I'm not sure that cutting Taylor Decker and then creating another hole. They already traded Montgomery, created another hole.
Yep.
Do they want to keep doing that?
I'm trying to be reasonable, though. I don't want to do this like it's Madden and I have $1 million. I have to make those decisions to free up money, and I have, and now I'm going to do something with it.
Okay.
My number one free agent target, Connor McGovern. I'm using a Spotrax calculator, $16.5 million a season. It's going to be at least a 3-year deal. He was the center in Buffalo for the number one rushing attack. He allowed 0 sacks at the center position. I'm going to say that again. Goff was sacked the most times of any in his career last year. I don't want any cross dog blitzes, free runners up the middle. Blitz pickup needs to get cleaned up, and a veteran-proven center is my number one target, Connor McGovern.
So, yes, I've talked about Connor McGovern. We've all talked about Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think Tyler Linderbaum will be available to the Lions, but the one wild card is going to be, what does Tyler Linderbaum sign for? If it's a record-setting deal in Baltimore, or if it's the same in New York with the Giants, I think your 16.5 that you have here for light. Connor McGovern is going to be a little bit light. It's going to cost 18 to 20.
All right. I'm just going with an industry site. You can nickel and dime me as we go. My next signing is Khalil Mack. He did say he's coming back. People speculated, would he retire a little long in the tooth? He's highly productive. And a 1-year deal at $18 million is market value. He is the player Brad Holmes thinks Marcus Davenport is. That bigger, 3-down, good against the run, certainly can get to the quarterback. I think he rounds out the opposite spot from Aiden Hutchinson with 2 quality edge rushers.
Ideally, he does, and I don't hate this. But at some point, there's going to be a year for Khalil Mack where it's just, hey, Father Time wins, and you miss too much time to take up that big of a part of the cap.
Would you prefer, because I also think, look, if you can't sign everybody you want, he picks somebody else. Joey Bosa would fit the same bill. 280 pounds, had a productive year in Buffalo, younger, can play the run, and certainly get to the quarterback. I think there are options to make a sizable commitment to that position, and not a situational pass rusher, but an every down guy.
Yeah, I would trust that he would be available more than Khalil Mack. It could be wrong, but I would trust that more.
Okay. The draft. 17th overall, Monroe Freeling. Tackle out of Georgia. 6'7", tough, mean, moves well. Teammate of Ratledge at Georgia as well. That would be my pick. A starting tackle at 17. Taylor Decker was the starting tackle drafted at 16. I make that replacement in the draft.
Yeah, and if you're number 3, cutting Taylor Decker is what happens. You have to get a starter at that position.
And can I throw another name if Freeling's gone? Because he may rise up boards. I like Blake Miller. I think there's a bunch of good tackles in this draft.
Yeah, the kid from Clemson.
Yeah, 52 starts, tough as nails.
Both
super
of
athletic.
These guys. Now, Freeling could come in as your left tackle, and then you just leave Penei Sewell where he's at. I would prefer to move Penei Sewell over to left. And whether it's Freeling or it's the kid from Clemson that you just mentioned, I think either of those guys would be a great fit at right tackle. And then you actually do have Georgia next to Georgia.
There you go. My second round pick at 50, I'm taking Keon Scott, Miami corner. Great in space. He always finds the football. When you watch him, he is in the run game. He is deflecting passes, taking the ball away. I think there's a clear need in the secondary for this football team, and I think he's a great football player. Give me Scott out of Miami at 50.
Yeah, and if you're calling him a slot corner, it's a nickel corner. You have to address that, because when you heard from defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard during the combine, it was, I don't want to play as much base defense. I want to do more of what Seattle did. They had a freak there. I don't think Scott is
the same type of freak. He's not the big burly
but
safety,
he fits the bill and allows them to play more nickel play. But again, it's not just that nickel corner you have to address. It's Terrion Arnold. Is he going to eventually be that guy that can be a corner? DJ Reed. Maybe the corner position is okay, but what are you doing deeper in the secondary?
Well, that's my next pick. Pick 118. Bud Clark, safety out of TCU, has played in the box, can play deep. They need versatility with the question marks at that position. And as he put it, Mama raised a born killer.
I like those natural born killers. They are football is the place to be, and I'm not going to sit here and say I've done a deep dive into Bud Clark. I guess the only thing I would say is whenever I say, "Hey, what's up, Bud?" it would actually work for him.
And then the Lions have one more fourth-round pick. I'm taking my running back here, Katron Allen, and I know there will be some who will say, "Get that free agent running back." If I'm paying an RB2 in free agency, I'm losing the transaction with Montgomery. If I'm not going to have a two-headed monster and I got a cap crunch, Allen gives me the size. He's patient. He's between the tackles. He's productive. He's what I'm looking for an RB2. I would take him. And his comp, by the way, is Tyler Algier, who's a free agent I would like for the Lions.
Right. I would much rather have a veteran as RB2. Now, that's not always that might be a luxury of getting a veteran there. And I don't care about winning or losing the transaction. I think you got draft capital, and we know Brad with draft capital, whether it's a fourth, it's next year's seventh. Like, he likes to use that draft capital to move around, and it could turn into something else in regards to, hey, maybe they do get a third back if they're able to package some picks and get into that third round, which they don't currently have.
You'll note none of these are projects. We're done with that.
Oh, and so we're already seeing them operate differently this offseason than we have in previous offseasons. And I think free agency, it's going to be different. I think in the draft, it's going to be different. And by different in the draft, I mean, yeah, you can still move around. You can still, maybe take a position that wasn't a position of need, but it's a guy that's going to instantly jump in and be productive.
So, look, it's not every move. You could do things like cutting Levi Onwuzurike or Pascal, save $1 million here, $2 million there. It's not every move they're going to have to make. But this would be my priority list, how I would attack the offseason, my Honolulu blueprint. Get some feedback. It's 97.1.